Hello there. I'm in a stage at the moment where I have quite a few friends that are having second children. And that really sparked this episode in me because I have been so surprised as somebody who thought when this was just like an idea in my head years ago, before I actually leapt into it, when I was in my 20s and you're thinking about a family and what will it look like. And I always thought I would have two kids, always. And then I actually had a kid and realized what it's like. And now, when somebody tells me they're having a second kid, I am shocked by the reaction that is kind of close to why the hell would you do that? And I appreciate that I am on my own. So my context is very different. And if I had a partner, I can totally understand why I would do this again. Because the fear for me is going back to the start. When I think about everything that I've been through with my kid, I think, thank God I don't have to do that again. Now, I have talked before about how progress isn't linear with parenting, and sometimes you do go back to the beginning of it, but you're not starting from scratch, You have progressed through phases and you're kind of moving on from there. And I like that progress. I really battled with the baby stage. But then again, I was talking to a friend who is just about to have another one. And she was saying about how, her husband was really helpful overnight and blah, blah, blah. And I thought when she was describing what he used to do at nighttime, I was like, well, I could have another one if I had somebody around that was helping me, like it would actually be so much easier, like understandably, if there was a second pair of hands there to the point where I can get how you could feel like, yeah, this is totally doable. Hard, but totally doable. But for me, the idea of going back to the beginning by myself again, oh my God. I see some people with babies like, they love that phase and they seem really comfortable and confident in that phase. And I know it was my first one, but I didn't like anything about the baby phase. And there's no part of me that's like, I really want to go back to that beginning where I was teaching somebody to sleep and getting no rest myself. And I'm sure I'd be better at it second time round. But I'm really surprised at how like, ugh, my reaction is. I definitely love the idea of having a bigger family, and I would love to click my fingers and have 3 kids, 7, 9, 11, all of which love me like I've been with them since the time they were 0, but that I haven't actually had to parent since they were 0. Like, I like the idea of it being a family when we're older, when we can go and do things and there's more flexibility, but the work that is required to get to that beautiful family painting for me is not worth the effort. Like, I think my life would be so difficult that it would be unenjoyable. And I know there are women who do this by themselves all the time and have more than one. And as a result, I think to myself, like, is there something wrong with me that I don't think that I could do this? But it's really just about the kind of life that I think that I want. And maybe it's less about me being scared and more about me being smart because I can understand of these two paths, the path that I'm going down right now, it's going to be difficult. It has been difficult, but it's difficult in a manageable way. And I'm starting to get to the point where my kid is coming out of the woods of that complete dependence. And when I'm seeing those little glimmers of independent play and all that kind of stuff, I'm thinking, okay, there's a lightness that's coming. There's a lightness that's coming. And I understand why at that point you would start to think, okay, well, I think there's space for a second child. And that's why, like, I have eggs on ice, I've got embryos on ice, and I'll probably keep them until I'm 50 because in my head, I'm like, okay, that's a good cutoff for me where at that point, I'm not going to have another kid for sure. But I can't imagine thinking differently at the moment. But maybe if my mind changed in 2 years, I mean, am I really going to have a child at 47? I don't know about that. But, if my mind changed, to have the option there, I think is just worth it. So I'm just going to keep them on ice, even though in my mind now I cannot imagine a day that I would turn around and say, I want another child. But I just feel like this other path that I'm on now, I can see how my life could fold out in a really not simple way, but simpler way. And I feel like if I go down the path of 2 kids, yes, I'll have 2 kids, but I will be infinitely more stressed, financially stretched, not happy. Like, I will have the happiness of having another kid, but I just think the unhappiness that comes with overload, overwhelm, financial strain, all of that stuff that I would be preparing myself for. Just having my daughter, I have options still on the table, I can think about things, but if I had to, my options would be very, very limited. And I'm just not sure how I would handle it. And I think it's that realization that's made me feel, an almost physical reaction to when people say they're having a second, like, I cannot believe why you would. And I'm putting that in my scenario, right? Like, I understand why they are because they've got partners and they want to do that. And even this friend that I was talking to the other day, when I was like, oh, is this like, are you second and done? And she's like, no, I'd have another couple. And I'm like, oh my gosh, people are so different, aren't they? When you hear the way somebody thinks about something and you're like, that is the total opposite of how my brain's working right now. Like, that's unbelievable. I can't even put myself in your shoes where I would think that. And again, totally different set of circumstances. They've got support and help and family support and, a partner and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, but I'm just really surprised at how no it is for me. It's just just a blatant no. And I think it's not just the hardship, the finances, the time, the effort. It's also the connection with my daughter. I like that she gets all of my attention. And I think because it's just me here, I don't want to divide my attention between her and somebody else. And I feel like at the moment, especially now that she's coming out of that dependence phase and we're having a bit more quality time together, it feels like we're actually spending time one on one. And I feel like if I add somebody else into the mix, all of a sudden my time with her is more about like just keeping her slightly entertained while I deal with this over here. So it's more of a juggling act of logistics and we're all existing in the same space. But are we truly connecting? Now that might seem ridiculous to some people, right? She's a kid, she's a 2-year-old. But I feel like we are really connected. And I feel like we have a really good, strong relationship. And when we are together, we are really spending time together. And I didn't anticipate that with a child this young. I didn't realize that that would happen this early. But I do really feel that with her. And I don't want to let that go by having to put her over to the side to try and deal with this priority. Because yes, it will even out once that new kid is older. But I don't want to miss that time when I have to kind of put her to the side. And I don't have another person here where I can go, okay, well, you deal with one, I'll deal with the other. And both of these kids are being held and looked after by someone they love equally. It's like, no, you're going to have to sit over there by yourself and play a puzzle. And I might occasionally like jump in and do something, but this is my priority. I don't really want to have that dynamic in the home because I want her to have my attention because I think she deserves it. And so it's a mixture of all of those things. But I think it's really surprising when you have thought to yourself in your own mind that this is what you think your family will be like eventually when you have a kid. And to be fair, that my thinking about this happened a lot earlier than the time that I actually started thinking properly about having a kid. So, different set of circumstances. But I guess in your mind, you do have a feeling about what is my life going to look like. And I really did think I'd be the person that wanted more than one kid. But then when you get into it, you're like, this actually will be a really difficult life that I don't think I want to lean into. So interesting. I mean, I might change my mind. That's why I'm holding on to the eggs. I'm holding on to the embryos. I'm going to see how my mind shifts and whether it shifts. I think I'm also just really surprised to feel so disconnected to the way other people feel. Like I'm really surprised that I see all these people who it's a no-brainer for them to keep their family going. And for me, I'm just not feeling that. Like some people would say, do you feel your family's complete? I don't even think about it like that. If I said no to you, then you're like, oh, well, then you want another one. But I don't. I'm not saying, but I don't even think about this as being a completion of my family. My family is what it is, So, yeah, I don't know. I'll be really interested to see how I feel in a couple of years. I truly hope that I don't turn around and say that I want another kid because honestly, it's been exhausting enough as a 40 plus, person doing the parenting thing. I just think in another 2 years or 3 years, I'm like, oh, going through the pregnancy and the overnights and I won't be doing this shit, I don't want to be toilet training when I'm 50. Like, mama needs a rest. I'm a mum. I did that. I wanted to do that. I'm so happy I did that. I feel like I could have a really nice life with this kid, or I could fundamentally make my life super difficult by having another one. I mean, flash forward to egg on my face, even 5 years' time, I'm sitting there rocking one kid and hanging on to the other one. Like, imagine that. Isn't that funny? You just have no idea what the future is going to bring. But right now, it's bringing me and Olivia just having a great life together and enjoying ourselves. So let's see how that plays out in reality. If you are a solo mum who's got more than one kid and no help, good on you. I'm very impressed by you. I think that's an amazing thing. I think the fact that you can get your mind to that place and you can do it, just unbelievable. I have no idea how to do it, and I think I'm pretty good at like doing hard stuff, but that is just a hard thing that I just don't think I'd be capable of doing. So my love and high fives go out to you. Thank you so much for listening. If you are enjoying the episodes, please share it with someone else or give it a little rating and review in your podcast app. I also have a link to a form in the description of this episode. If you have any questions that you want to ask me that you'd like answered on the show, you're always welcome to shoot them my way. And I'll see you next week.